today we are going to be talking about another mixed number word problem. So, Henry bought fruit for his soccer team's party. He bought 3.5 pounds of apples. He bought 2 3/4 pounds of pears. He bought 4 1/3 pounds of bananas. Henry carried the apples in his right hand and the pears and bananas in his left hand. How much more weight did he carry in his left hand than his right hand? So it says how much more weight did he carry in his left hand than his right hand. So that means we're comparing two numbers. We're going to have to be doing some subtraction. But we have to figure out what he carried in his right hand and his left hand. So in his left hand, he carried bananas. So that's what he carried in his left hand. So we are going to have to subtract 4 1/3 from how much more weight did he carry in his left hand? Oh, I'm sorry. So in his left hand, he didn't carry 4 1/3. He carried pears and bananas. So we have to add these together to figure out what he carried in his left hand, and we are going to subtract 3.5 from that answer, right? It said, how much more weight did he carry in his left hand than his right hand? Well, we have to figure out what he carried in his left hand and then subtract what he carried in his right hand from that. So first things first, let's add up what the pears and bananas together. So 2 3/4 plus 4 1/3. So I need to find a common denominator here. So I know that the least common denominator for 4 and 3, or the least common multiple, would be 12, right? So I know 4 times 3 equals 12. And really, all we're doing for this one is we are multiplying each fraction by the denominator of the other fraction. And this strategy will always give you a common denominator. It might not be the least common denominator, but it will always give you the common denominator. And at worst, you're just going to have to reduce the fraction once you do the problem. So 3 times 3 equals 9. 4 times 3 equals 12. 1 times 4 equals 9. 3 times 4 equals 12. So now we can add 9/12 plus 4/12, which equals 13/12. And now we can add the whole numbers here. 2 plus 4 equals 6 and 13/12. But this actually is not proper formation, so I would actually change this 13/12. I would subtract 12 over 12, which equals 1, and I would get 1/12. And then I would add that 1 to the whole number, and so it would be 7 1/12. Okay? And now I'm going to subtract that from 3.5. Now, interestingly, what I'm going to have to do, right, because this is what he carried in his left hand, and we're finding how much more weight he carried in his left hand than his right hand. So that's why we're doing this subtraction. But I can't subtract 1/12 from 1/2. First of all, because we need to find common denominators. So a common denominator is 12. So we're going to have to multiply by half by 6 over 6, which equals 6/12. And we can't subtract 1/12 minus 6/12. So we actually have to borrow from here, turn this into a 6, and then I'm going to add that 1, the 12 over 12, to this, 1/12, and then it becomes 6 and 13/12. So in this case, we actually could have just kept it to 6 over 13/12 instead of moving it to 7.5 or 7 and 1/12 down here. So now we're doing 13/12, right? 13/12 minus 6/12, which then equals 13 minus 6 equals 7/12. And then we do 6 minus 3 equals 3. So the answer is going to be 3 and 7/12. That's how much more weight he carried in his left hand than his right hand.